What is it that makes us realize we are going to die? I'm not talking about knowing that we're gonna die. I'm talking about internalizing, realizing that we are mortal. So what exactly happens in that moment? And I'd like to believe that everybody arrives at an understanding of their own death at different points in life, of course. But that exact moment is really interesting for me, when death is not a possibility anymore. It's an unavoidable fact. It is no longer a marketing tool for religion, and let that sink in. It's no longer a plot twist in your favorite book or TV show. It is not a conspiracy theory regarding that legendary celebrity. It's merely your destiny and progress. So what leads to such life-changing experience? And don't give me it's only natural bullshit that we know how precious the flowers are because they die one day. You cannot fool me. You think you're at peace with your fate? You can cope with your mortality? No. People have been looking for immortality throughout the history of mankind. So what, you now are an exception? God, no. That's only because the science and technology has spared you the effort and fantasy. Or maybe a certain religion has promised you an afterlife, or maybe rebirth, I don't know. But you are not coping with it. You're just not thinking about it because you think you have an answer to an answerless question. And don't ask me why I choose these topics, because these topics keep me up at night.
How did you choose us to do this?
If you don't sit with them, and if you do not address them, you're gonna experience this existential crisis, if not at the age of 25, later at the age of 60. I'm not saying that you're gonna be old, I'm saying that it's gonna be hard to make changes. So sit with them, no matter how uncomfortable they are. And as I have told you in my previous video, well, welcome back to Reverse Trauma. I cannot thank you enough for the likes and comments on my first video. I wasn't expecting that, but you were all so kind to me. And I told you about how I lost a friend of mine, how I love the picture of Dorian Gray, how I am developing this little aging project. And what did we cover? We also talked about my nose job, yeah? So we covered most of the basics. But in this video, I'm gonna talk about a discovery that is almost embarrassing in its simplicity, and that is how mortal we all are. So that realization might come a little early if you are living in a situation where death hovers around you, all over you. For example, if you're a doctor or a nurse and you work at a hospital, you see people die every day, as naturally and as unquestioningly as leaves falling in autumn. It becomes too frequent for you. Or if you live in poverty or at war, I think that stops being abstract to you and becomes concrete. And let me give you another example. You're protesting on the streets and people, maybe somebody standing right beside you, gets shot and fall. And you get to witness that. The person was saying something out loud, and those words couldn't fit into another group's idea of ideology. So they shoot them, and now they're dead. And you're there to see. They were treated like NPCs, side quest characters in a video game, casually killed. That's when you realize how thin the line really is. It's just an inch away, half a breath away. It could be you. It's not you, thank God, but it could be you. And it will be you. Now you are sure of that. So people die every day, as naturally and as unquestioningly as leaves falling in autumn, but except everything is questionable about this. And nothing is natural. So that is the moment when death becomes ordinary, random, and concrete. And you don't get to look away anymore. At first, it feels a stage. It's unreal, as if your brain refuses to accept that your kind is also capable of dying, but then it becomes too real, too serious. Now let me tell you what made me think of this situation. I was thinking about my second video, and it was in the last winter, so it's been a while. But a friend of mine called me and told me that while they were protesting on the streets, her friend got headshot twice and fell. And ironically, though she's grieving, she has to study for her master's tests. And I have also lost a friend. So you think I know the exact soothing words to use in this situation, but no. I found all the words useless to console such a Shakespearean plot. And I told her the most cliche thing, that we are there for her. And then I went back to brainstorming for the video. But let me tell you what happened at night. I found out that Catherine O'Hara, a famous actress, has passed away, unfortunately. And you might know her from Schitt's Creek or Home Alone, of course. She's Kevin's mom. She's so adorable and funny. I found out that she has passed away, and I wept like a baby. I cried my eyes out.
Oh, did you now?
David, she's crying. Why is she crying?
Now you have a legit question. Like, girl, you heard that people were killed probably a few blocks away from your home, and you didn't flinch, and now you are crying your eyes out, you're sobbing for an actress who you have never met in real life. So what is wrong with you? But I have the answer. Trauma works in mysterious ways. It's not linear. It's not action, reaction in a row. It's always there, and you don't know what triggers it. It's like a berserker. It's like a ticking bomb. So for those people who are hit by tragedies after tragedies, who basically live in the gruesome news headlines, for those who, as they journey through life, they're mostly in survival mode. They don't get to react to their traumas right after they happened. Those incidents do not trigger a mental breakdown instantly. Sometimes it takes time, and sometimes the reaction does not fit the incident because it's an accumulative trauma, if I want to use the technical term.
It was very good, very professional.
But anyway, if you're sane and sober and you realize that death is coming your way, I only expect you to panic, because I cannot fathom you truly imagining you not being anymore and then you still remain calm and collected. You gotta panic. It's only right. But these kind of surreal, tragic things are the kind that inspire poets and directors and authors. These are the kind that leave you sleepless at night, if not struggling with nightmares. But the tragedy, I think, is that people who are going through those do not get to reflect on the incidents, just like my friend who had to study for a test. Because the therapists here are probably going through the same nightmare, and the therapists abroad do not seem to comprehend. Not that I blame them. And you know, the system here, it doesn't let you take 5. It doesn't cut you any slacks. It walks all over you. And if you end up dead, you're just a +1 casualty number that you may or may not get accounted for by authority. Not that you care after you're dead. My point is, do not blame me or my channel for being bleak at times. It is bleak and it is dark, but I live in existential crisis. I live in death. And I always tell you, only like and subscribe if you are willing to sit with the uncomfortable. Let's get back to our stream of thoughts on how mortal we all are. What is stranger is what happens after that realization. That's when you stop asking whether it's possible and you start asking, how long can I pretend it's not already happening? It's like now that you know something so obvious, you feel like you're intelligent enough to find a way around it. David Hume argues that if an incident has happened many times before, it doesn't prove that it's going to happen again. Without logical proof, we don't know if history repeats itself. So maybe that's that. Or maybe your doubt comes from another place. Maybe as you grow closer to death, the fear gets louder. Or maybe it's entirely something else at work. Maybe someday you see something you didn't know existed. Maybe you feel something you didn't know you were capable of. And now it hits you. There are things that you don't know. Okay, so maybe I can find a shortcut to a place I didn't know it existed before. It's like striking a wall and hearing a hollow echo. And now you know there might be a back room, but whether there is a back room or not, you can no longer believe that the wall is solid. That's when the hope ignites. This kind of hope consumes you your whole life. It reshapes you and it refuses to be ignored. Because you cannot believe that you're a side quest character, a fly that may hit the windshield, a trivial, interrupted end. No, you are the main character. There's a purpose for you. There's a narrative written only for you. You have a meaning. Maybe this is one of the comforts that religion offers. When these questions show up about death and its aftermath, the religious mind sits with it for a while and then let him go. Because even if there is no clear answer, the doubt itself gets to be treated as something holy, to strengthen your faith towards the superior system. If you couldn't mutilate those cells that refuse to stop asking questions, if you weren't fortunate enough to silence those bastards of a cell that cannot fit into any religion, and you're not gifted enough to know that these questions and asking them alone come with a high price, it's different for you. If being doubtful doesn't end up feeling as being tested by God or universe, then you are handed this question, but there's no examiner to hand it back to. When doubt comes, it stays. You don't get to find any answers, you don't get certainty, you don't get comfort. You get to carry it your whole life and live with it. As I said, these are the kind of questions that we don't just come across in a philosophy book, but we come across on a daily basis. Like, who am I? Where the bloody hell I'm going? Why is this thing happening to me, right? Asking those questions alone feel like a glitch in the system, like the byproduct of human evolution, to be self-aware like that. But what interests me is not to find answers to those questions, because there aren't any answers, to be honest, but to sit with them face to face, not to label them, but to address them. You know, as a teacher, I know when observation day comes, you get so clumsy. I think that's magical. That's a telekinetic power that you can use with your deepest questions and traumas. That's how I think we can reverse them, and is the whole manifesto of this channel. When you are aware that you are being observed, the awareness alone alters behavior. It changes the course of your action. It interferes with the autonomy of you. You can do that and interfere with the autonomy of your traumas. If you just look at them and stare at them, they are not gonna disappear into thin air. You don't get to live a happily ever after just because you have stared at your traumas. But I think that's worth trying. I gather these perspectives from different books, TV shows, from my own experiences. This video also comes with a recommendation. Some of the things that we discussed today were sort of paraphrased from the book Blood on Snow by Jo Nesbø. If you're into crime and of course existential questions, you can read that one. And another recommendation, a favorite of mine, is The Good Place. It's a TV series. Please go and watch it. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I haven't watched anything more brilliant when it comes to the concept of afterlife. We spend our lives running from death, distracting ourselves from it, building systems around it, philosophy, religion, entertainment. We do anything just not to sit with it and look at it directly. So I hope that I see you soon. And I hope that you live long enough to face most of your questions. Love you all. Please leave your words of wisdom in the comment section and subscribe if you are willing to sit with the uncomfortable. Love you so much.